Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are talking saving money with meat prices going up. I know everybody is noticing that these prices are super high, but today we are going to show you how to pick a really good choice of meat, how to cut it up, how to make some good steaks with it, and some other meals so you're going to get the most bang for your buck. We're going to share with you how to make the most perfect steak ever. And I'm also going to share with you a new side. This is going to be a part of like the pumpkin squash family, but it's super low carb and packed full of nutrients. I hope you guys like today's video and maybe get some pointers for your next shopping trip. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so jumping into the video, this is going to be our chunk of meat here, and we're gonna have Leo in the kitchen, so we're gonna have him step in and he's going to explain everything and basically the pros and cons of buying your meat in bulk, and how basically doing like these crazy times right now, how we're gonna save some money and what this can be used for.
So what we have here is a piece of top sirloin. I've always been a fan of buying them whole like this. They're usually a little bit on the cheaper side, and top sirloin is usually one of those very versatile pieces of meat that you can use for just about anything. You can actually cook this into a whole roast, slice it up real thin. You can make roast beef out of it. You can make steaks. You can slice it thin and cut fajitas out of it. It's got a lot of. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna show you how to cut this up on your own. Right now we got this at it was $7.79 a pound at Costco. I think their regular steaks are like $9 or $10.99. So you're saving anywhere between like $2 a pound, which can add up, especially for us. It's a family of 5 and everyone's a big meat eater. So we're just gonna go ahead and open this up, and I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through on how to cut this up.
So when you see these, what is the best way to pick these out in the store? Like to know what
when you're buying a whole one of these, there's not a whole lot you could really see because they're vacuum sealed. But obviously, the more red meat you see on the bottom side, the better. And then usually they're gonna have a little bit of a cap of fat on top of them here. So there's nothing you can really do about that. But like I said, you're gonna be saving a significant amount of money. And on the sirloin, you don't mind a little bit of fat anyway because it's a really lean piece of meat.
All right. So for people who, how many? So for us, for a family of 5, for a $60 piece of meat, how many meals do you think we can get out of that?
We should be able to get, depending on what we make. You know, if we make like fajitas, or if we cook it whole. I mean, if we cook it whole, we make beef sandwiches out of it. We could probably get about 2 to 3 meals out of it. Okay. If we're cutting whole steaks out of it, 8-ounce steaks, it's probably going to be 2 meals, 2 to 3 meals, depending on what you do with it.
So yeah, so if you think about it, the way meat prices are right now, this is going to be the best.
One of the cheaper cuts you can get.
So one of the cheaper cuts, especially if you are like us and you try to have more of a higher protein diet. So, and this is a really good cut. What are we going to show them how to cut today?
I'm going to show them how to do everything. I'm going to show them how to cut some fajitas out of it, some full about 8-ounce steaks, and maybe a roast.
All right, so let's go ahead and get everything cut up. Well, he's going to show you how to do this, okay? So that's going to be our main protein dish right here. I'm gonna show you guys about a new side. I don't know if you guys have ever, my mother-in-law made these and they were so freaking good. This is called a calabaza, which is like a squash. It's in the pumpkin family. It's super high in fiber. For about 1.5 cups, I Googled it, the nutritional value said it's about 8 total carbs with about 4 grams of fiber. So it's really, really good. I only got a small little chunk. It was only $1.46. What we're going to do for myself is I'll show you guys, but we're going to remove the seeds and we're going to chop it up. I'm going to try to take some of the skin off, chop it up, and we're going to roast this in the oven at 425 for about a half an hour. This is really good. It's sweet. It has like that sweet pumpkin kick to it, but it's a really tasty side, and it's really appropriate for the season. So I thought you guys would really enjoy maybe trying out something like this. You guys know we always try to come with that heat, trying to bring out something different. So this is going to be our side for our meal today. So before Leo goes ahead and starts cutting into this meat, I'm going to show you quickly the knife we are using. You guys know that you guys always get excited and ask questions and like what knives Leo recommends. So if you guys are new here, my husband is Leo, and Leo has been a butcher for, God, I don't know, over 20 years at this point. or a meat cutter for over 20 years at this point. So this is the knife we are going to use. This is the Misen chef knife, and we want to thank Misen for sponsoring this portion of today's video. So they were so great, and they sent us over this beautiful knife. And you guys always ask how Leo determines the best knife. How do you determine it's a good knife, Lee? But this one is gorgeous. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him explain it to you. Like, what are the points of a good knife?
Usually you want a little bit on the heavier side, but you don't want it so heavy to where it,
This has a good weight to it.
yeah, it's got there's some really high-end knives out there that are like super heavy. They're great knives, they're sharp and everything, and they work great, but they're almost a little too heavy. Nothing wrong with that, but if you do constant work in the kitchen or you cook a lot, your hand will get a little worn out, a little tired.
So you should be careful with this, because I was kind of wiping it down because I had fingerprints and it was shaving the paper towel. So this is a nice sharp knife.
It's a very sharp knife, yeah.
It's a very sharp knife. It does have, Leo's been playing with it since we got it. It does have a little weight, but I don't think it's too heavy. And this is something definitely, guys, you're not going to want to just shove in your drawer. That's why we've been keeping it in our box, because I always shove my knives in my drawer and then, you know, accidents happen. But we're going to go ahead and use this knife, which I think is so nice. And they also have a set of cookware. So let me show you the cookware that we're going to use. This is their stainless steel pan. So we're going to cook up some sirloin steaks, and we're going to be using the Misen stainless steel pan. This is beautiful. I want to say this is probably the best pan I own. So if you guys can tell, their stainless steel pan is nice and thick, and basically why they made it that way was so that the actual whatever you're cooking in the pan is enough like distance from the flame, so the heat distributes evenly into the pan, and it's not going to burn your food, and your food will be cooked more evenly, so you don't have to worry about like hot spots or anything like that, which I think is really smart, because that's been known to happen around these parts. The pan is nice and big, as you can see, because they designed their pans to have 19% more cooking area than other premium brands. That means more space to cook your food, and you don't have to have like 4 different pans going. And if you're like me and you don't have a dishwasher, that's perfect, because less cleanup. Another great feature of these pans is the fact is that you can actually throw this into the oven. It's safe for up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, so you don't have to, you know, make more dishes and transition your meal from whatever you're cooking from one pan to another to cook it. You're able to just go ahead and stick this into the oven, and you can keep cooking up your deliciousness. Misen uses the same material as their competitors, but they're able to sell their product for way cheaper, so making it much more affordable. So you're able to, you know, essentially be an at-home chef, but do it like, you know, you're an amateur, but you want to have nice stuff, but you can afford it. That's what Misen did for us. So, all right, yes, thanks, Misen, for sending over your pan and your knife, and let's let Leo jump in and start trimming up everything.
So when you first get these, a lot of people, they like to take all the fat off. I'm not a fan of taking the fat off. I like to leave as much as possible on there, because I just feel like it helps with the flavor and the juiciness of it. Well, the first thing you want to do, I do at least, is I flip it over and I look for any of what's called like bone felts or any kind of nasty nerve. This one's actually pretty clean. Sometimes they'll have a little, like a big piece that comes all the way across right here, but this one seems to only have like a nice little corner right there. So we're just gonna kind of shave that off right there. Yeah, this is a nice knife. And just kind of come all the way down with it like that. And that's about it on this one. So then what you do on these, like I said, these sirloins, you want to take it and you're gonna have see how it goes a little bit longer this way, and then this way is a little shorter, depending on what you want to make. You know, like for instance on this one we're gonna make a couple of different things. So I'm just gonna cut it right in half right here. All right. So when you open it up, you're gonna see this little gristly stuff right here, and you want to take that off. So the best way I feel to take it off is to kind of turn it over on its side right here, and you can work your knife in there. Just be real careful, because that stuff's a little tough, and you'll be able to kind of guide it out with the knife like that. And that's pretty much it right there. This one's pretty decent. I wish it was actually a little bit fattier and uglier, so I could really show you guys how to trim these up, but we got kind of lucky here. We got a really nice piece. So I can show you guys here real quick on how to cut them in the steaks. Like, you just take the part that you cut in half and you turn it like this, See how the grain runs across this way, and you always want to go across it like this. So we're gonna cut some nice little 6-8 ounce steaks.
Nice thick steaks too. Show them how thick they are.
Yeah, they're about a little under an inch.
So here, let me show you guys, because you can see, look at how nice thick cut of steak. So if you wanted them thinner, you could make them thinner as
Absolutely.
well.
And then this little end piece right here is kind of crappy looking. And then here's a little more of that nerve I was talking about that we were looking for earlier. That kind of stuff, you can't really eat that. It'll be like chewing on a piece of gum. So this little piece right here, you can still make it into a steak. I mean, it's not bad, but it doesn't present very nicely. So when I end up with scrap pieces like this, I just kind of like to cut them up like this.
Your son is waiting for treats. He gives Benny little chunks of the meat, that's why. You could hear him.
Yeah, and then you know, just turn them around and give them a rough chop like that.
And this could go into your fajita portion.
Yeah, and you can make tacos or fajitas or something, whatever you want out of this right here. So again, there's that gristle I was talking about earlier. You want to just kind of work your knife in there slowly. And there you go. You get most of that out.
We try to buy like roasts and, you know, whatever, you know, type of thing, and we try to make multiple meals out of it. And we just I'll have Leo come home, he'll bring it, and he'll like make some steaks with one, and then we'll cut up some more and we'll make like, you know, fajitas, and just keep it in the freezer and I could pull it out. So this is kind of the most financially attainable way to still eat a high protein diet for us right now. I know a lot of people are like, how are you still doing it with the price of groceries? This is how we shop the sales, and we just get creative and start cutting up stuff. So
definitely invest in a deep freeze if you could, if you got the space and, you know, a little bit of extra cash to buy one. I definitely recommend buying one. I think that's one of the reasons we haven't been affected too much by the meat prices. Is even before everything got out of hand, we always kept that freezer pretty well stocked. Whenever you find something on sale, it's best to just kind of, you know, if you have the vacuum sealer or, you know, some freezer bags, just throw it in there and it'll be ready to use the next time you need it. Yeah,
agreed. Okay, so here we go. What are we doing with this one?
So with this one, I'm just gonna kind of even it up and take maybe a little steak off of each end. Kind of even it out a little bit. And then again, I'll chop this up and we'll leave it for fajitas or whatever. But you have a little roast here now, if you wanted.
Yeah. And you could do Italian beef sandwiches. You could just throw them in the crock pot with some bone broth, some beef bone broth, Italian seasoning pack, and some garlic, and you're on your way. You could do a Mississippi pot roast, and that's just butter, au jus, ranch, butter, and pepperoncinis. What else can they do? You could just shove a bunch of garlic in it and roast it slow in the oven. There's really no wrong way to do that.
No, there really isn't.
I'm not a big roasty person. So I have to be in the mood. I like beef sandwiches and stuff like that, but I feel like after a few days, it gets to be too much. So I think I'll have you do the fajitas and then make another round of thinner steaks.
Yeah, we could. Or you could even, or like I said, you don't have to shave it down, or you don't have to cut it down in the steaks all the way, or make a roast out of it. You could even do it, slice it up real thin, and you can make jerky out of it if you really wanted to too.
Yeah,
it's a very lean. It's lean enough for that. So
I think I have a jerky recipe too. So if you look under Daniela Diaries jerky, I think you'll find one. So with $60 investment, you're able to get 3 different types of meals, and these are good. I mean, nice sirloin steak. You can do sirloin like fajitas, or you can do some type of roast, or you could, like I said, we made our steaks significantly bigger, but because we like them like that. But if you wanted to make them thinner a little, you can make this go even further. So depending on,
you can cut them thinner and bulk up the sides. You know, like I said, these are probably like 8-10 ounce steaks still, so they're pretty thick.
So how much do you think if we go to a restaurant, how much a steak that size will cost?
Oh god, at a restaurant they'll charge you for something this big. They'll charge you easily about, when I actually ordered a sirloin, I think it was like $35.
Oh, you see?
So that's ridiculous. It was. I feel like it's a little bit much what the restaurants charge, but I mean, it's nice, I guess, to go out once in a while and splurge, but it's a little difficult for me to spend that much money on a steak when I feel you can make one at home for way cheaper and probably just as good, if not better sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna fry up our steaks. I'm gonna have him continue chop this up and I'm gonna toss it in the freezer, but here is one option for you guys out there who are looking to save some money and really make your dollar go a long way, and you're still trying to watch and have a high protein diet. We got you. All right, so here is our mise pan, and according to Leo, to get the best steak, what do you got to do?
You always preheat it.
You got to preheat your pan. So our ingredients are super simple. All we're going to use is a little avocado oil and some Gibson steak seasoning. We get both of them at Costco, and we just have our wonderful pan. So how do you know when the pan's hot enough? You got to add the oil first, or what do you got to do?
I don't know. I just let it go for about, like, one of these nice stainless steel ones, they usually heat up pretty quick, so I let them go on high for like about 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
I love this pan. It's so beautiful. As you heard, he just said the stainless steel pans tend to give the steaks a really nice sear. So when this pan came in, Leo's like, we need to make steaks on it. And I said, I heard you. Let's do this.
Well, that's why I cut them so thick too, because, you know, sometimes if you sear them or you want to cook them on the stovetop, you got to transfer them over to something else to finish them off in the oven. So that's why I went a little thicker on those, so that way we could just toss the whole pan in there. We don't have to worry about switching out pans and stuff.
If you guys wanted to get yourself one of the mise pans, or if you wanted to check out their knives, they have a different variety of pans as well. I definitely recommend. They are really, really nice quality. These are definitely like expert chef type of products for reasonable prices, so I'm really excited about that. I will leave a link down below, but you can go down to my description and use code DDiaries for 20% off your first order. Again, go to the link in my description and use code DDiaries for 20% off your first order. Okay, you ready? This is feeling a little hot. I could feel the heat coming off. Oh, you brave. Okay. So you guys can see when I was talking about how they made their pans nice and thick to distribute the heat evenly, you could see that right now. Like, look at how instead of everything like boiling in the center, it's like
it's smoking all over. It's not just like right in the middle or like off to one side where the only the flame is touching.
Right, you notice that too?
Yeah, you get that right away. So that's ready to go.
All right, here we go. So we're gonna use the Gibson's seasoning salt. We get ours at Costco. We really love it. You can also use the Montreal steak seasoning, but I think the Gibson's one is where it's at. So you want your pan nice and hot?
Yep. And you always want to drop away from you when you're putting these in there. And you don't want to crowd the pan either. I could probably have fit 3 or 4 on there, but they cook a lot better when you give them a little bit of room and enough space.
All right, so how long on each side?
At this thickness right here, I'd probably leave them about a good 2-3 minutes per side.
Okay.
These actually aren't too thick. They might actually cook off just fine on the stovetop.
Wow, it looks really good.
The secret is just making sure you get your pan hot enough and don't mess with it.
So that's the secret, getting a good pan.
Make sure you get a good pan and get it hot enough and just let it sit. Don't be afraid. It'll be fine. It won't burn.
I have an issue with that. I get nervous that I'm going to burn it, and because of the price, I always get worried that I'm going to like waste money, and he's going to be like, you wasted all that money. So I understand why people get tempted to turn them so quick.
I don't know. I just kind of look at them, and you can see kind of on the sides right here. See how the side right there starts to brown up a little bit, like it's cooking off already?
Yeah.
That's usually a pretty good sign that they're probably about ready to turn. So let's go ahead and check them. Yeah, they are. See, you got a nice little sear on them.
All right. Leo in the kitchen with the mise pans. Okay, beautiful. Perfect.
And then I usually like to do a little bit of butter and like some thyme and rosemary right here on the side and kind of, what do you call that?
Like a base?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
You go a little. You're a little freak about
Yeah.
And it goes in there now, so we don't do butter now. So.
I don't eat, yeah, I don't, guys. I know keto, and you're like, yeah, drink the butter. I don't do all the butter stuff. I know, I just try to keep my fat a little bit lower. I typically don't even eat that much red meat anymore, but these are really nice lean cuts, so I will indulge in these. But, yeah, I don't do the butter. I know someone's going to be like, man, Leo, I'll let you, just don't do mine like that, and you can do yours with the butter. But we're going to let this sit, and then, again, guys, check my description for 20% off if you want to check out Misen. I'm telling you, these pans and this knife leaf, do you approve?
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's very, very nice, very affordable. These would be great for the Christmas gifts coming up, too, or for someone who's just learning to cook, or someone's going away, or somebody who's just getting the house. Perfect. All right, we're going to start on our side where Leo finishes up. I do have the oven preheated at 400 degrees, so let me get back with you guys and we'll start getting our stuff ready. So, coming over here is that calabaza squash. Okay, so it does have a hard shell, and I went through and I removed the seeds, okay? And we're just going to start dicing this up here. See, when my mother-in-law makes it, she does hers a little bit differently because she'll put like brown sugar and stuff in there.
Sugar, cinnamon.
Yeah, the goods.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. So you're just gonna go ahead and peel it away from the skin. I really do enjoy these. I think it's a nice alternative to, a tradition. I mean, sometimes you can just get bored. And when she brought these, and I was like, what are those? So I've even seen people make empanadas out of these. I think Leo's aunt made it with these before. They were really good. So just dice them, and we're going to roast them in the oven. You just want to make sure you take off the skin because it'll be hard. Littler pieces, because I want them all to get roasted. Just go ahead and toss everything in a bowl because we're going to mix it with a little bit of seasoning before we throw it into the oven to roast. All right, so here is that squash. Again, I did get a small one. I could have gotten bigger, but I just got a smaller portion. So everything is cut, diced, and I removed from the skin. I'm going to take a little bit of avocado oil just to kind of toss it on there. I'm going to take some black pepper. This is just the Costco one. We're going to crush up some of that. Just seasoned to taste, honestly. We're going to take some sea salt, give her a couple shakes. Some cinnamon. It's kind of like a sweet savory. And then I am going to take 1 packet of Truvia. Wrong way. It's really just a season to how you like it. If you didn't want to do cinnamon, you could skip it. You could add nutmeg instead. The world's just yours. I'm going to add a little bit more cinnamon and a little bit more salt. Thanks. I love having Leo in the kitchen. So, I just want to make sure it's not stacked on top of each other. Everything is laid out by itself because then, it doesn't get a nice even roasting. You guys can also throw this in the air fryer if you had an air fryer. I used to have one, but mine all broke. And I'm just going to hit it with a little bit more black pepper. And I'm going to take 1 more pack of the Truvia. You can skip this, but I like for it to almost look crystal. Like give it a nice little crystallizing, because I like that. But I also have a nice sweet tooth, and I feel like this is a good way to kind of hit it, But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that look good? Mm-hmm. Even Leo, are you going to try some?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No, probably not. My dad will.
Yeah, my father-in-law and mother-in-law are coming, so I know my father-in-law will love this. But I'm also going to make some Brussels sprouts so Leo gets his veggies in. So this is our calabaza squash. So here are a few, and you know what, Leo made a really good point. We usually would cook on the cast iron, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I hated it because it would tear up my oven. And you guys, if you've been here long enough, you know how Leo like mummifies the whole stove. And I just want to give, I mean, honestly, there is barely any mess. And you guys know it's like everywhere. It is everywhere. And
the handle stayed pretty cool the whole time I was cooking too. Usually I gotta keep a towel here to make sure that when I'm cooking or I'm gonna go flip and to hang onto the pan, I usually gotta hold it. I gotta get some kind of a pot holder or something. But the handle stayed pretty cool the whole time. I seared about 5 steaks.
All right, Lee, let me ask you this. What's the perfect temperature? Or what's the perfect way to cook a steak?
In my opinion, rare to medium is as far as I'll go medium. So that's about 130.
So I read on Google that you're supposed to take the steak off at 130 and let it sit till it reaches 145, and that's the perfect temperature for a steak.
Not in my opinion. But everyone can eat it however they want. I feel like if you're eating a steak at 145, 150, that's okay. That's not too bad. But I mean, anything over 150, you shouldn't eat steak. You should probably just eat something else, like a hot dog or something.
All right, so these steaks are done. We're just gonna let them sit. You want to let your steak sit and like finish cooking. Don't cook it too much because it's still gonna cook once you cook it. Take it off the pan. So let your steak cook and let it settle and let the juices do their thing. And
if you're ever in doubt, temp it.
Yep, I always temp it.
We've been cooking these. I've been cooking these for so long. I could kind of just touch the meat, and I could feel roughly about what the inside's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Before we cut into it.
Yeah.
So, but the best way to do it is just temp it.
Yeah, I temp everything. You guys know when in doubt, I temp it. Especially with like chicken or pork or anything like that, always like temp it. But everything looks good. So we're gonna let this sit and we're gonna wait for our squash to be done. And I'm going to make some Brussels sprouts in the microwave. And here it is. We're just gonna dump it into a pan. I'm gonna dump it into just this bowl because we're gonna do something a little extra. Now, you could try yours, and if you feel like this is how you like it, and you wanna, do that, and that's cool. But, around here, we're a little extra. So we're gonna do a little extra additives. Right here, I have some Chalk Zero maple syrup. You guys have never tried Chalk Zero, you're missing out. They are the absolute best syrups, candies, it's just syrups and candies. Hands down, it hits different with them. But anyways, I have a link down below if you guys want to try them out. We're going to use their maple syrup, and we're going to just a little bit. Just so we can give it a little extra. Just go ahead and, flip them. Ooh. No other channels could ever be. I like them to be a little mushy though. I mean, it depends on how people like them. You could actually mush them too. So that is finished. We're going to go ahead and remove these. Don't put that bowl on the thing. We have some Brussels sprouts. That way we can get Leo to eat his greens. So how do I dress up my Brussels sprouts? I add a little bit of butter and some seasoning salt. I do use my own seasoning salt because traditional seasoning salt has a lot of sugar in it. But these are just a freezer frozen one, and we love Brussels sprouts around here. So we have that. And then we have a green Brussels sprouts, hit different. We love them. And then our steaks. Look at those.
Those are the ones with butter.
Oh, okay. Leo wants me to tell you that those are the ones he added butter to. So we're going to dress our plates, get it ready. You want to go ahead and show them how you cut into that steak, how good it looks? Ooh. Like butter.
And it's still nice and juicy. It's got a little bit of reddish pink there. And that's how I like them. I mean, you can cook them well done if you want, but.
Oh man. For us it's good. So guys, what are we saying here? We are saying that you can go out and eat this meal and spend $40-50 a plate for you and your family, or you can make the initial investment, spend the $60 and have multiple meals. This way we were able to show you how to go ahead and cut it up if you were on the fence. We gave you some really awesome utensils to use. Make sure you check out Meeson if you wanted to get yourself one of their knives or their pans. And We also gave you a couple new size ideas. We're gonna plate up everything and then we'll show you what's for dinner. Here is our plate. So we have, look at these steaks, pure perfection, cooked perfectly for us. If you guys like them a little bit, you know, more cooked, then you do you. Don't forget to check out Meeson. You could check for the pans and the knives because they were amazing. Great kitchen essential to have. And then here is that calabaza squash. Again, something different, something to really get into for the fall season. And I definitely tried to take advantage of like produce that's in season, and this was one of the things, and they were so good. Definitely think adding that little bit of maple syrup just kind of gave it more of that sweet and savory, and absolutely delicious. And then we have to have a green vegetable because, you know, veggies are essential for us. And these are some Brussels sprouts with a little bit of Kerrygold butter and seasoned salt. This, my friends, is what's for dinner. Absolutely perfect. I hope you guys found this video to be useful, to help you guys save a little bit of money and maybe give you guys some ideas on what you can have for you and your family for dinner. We know the holidays are coming and we're all trying to save money, and we hope that this will inspire you guys maybe to buy in bulk, or if you have any questions or any other cuts of meat that maybe you want us to purchase and we can kind of lead you, or you've had any questions for Leo, leave them down below. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see y'all on the next one. Bye, friends.